Prabhupada ki jai. So today is the most auspicious occasion of the divine appearance of the Lord, one of the major incarnations of the Lord we have described before, Rupa Goswami has described before, in his Lagu Bhagavatamritam, that there are three major forms of the Lord whom we worship: Lord Ram, Lord Narasimha, and Lord Krishna. Recently we just witnessed the installation of Lord Ramchandra in Ayodhya Dham after so many years. Now there's again a grand temple there, and every day there's 1 or 2 lakhs of people visiting that temple. Similarly, with so many temples, famous temples of Narasimha Dev, those of you who go to Yadagiri Kutam, you know, is recently renovated there also, so very nicely worshipped the Lord. Of course, we're devotees of Krishna, but it's not
incorrect.
Yes, thank you. It's not incorrect for us to worship Lord Narasimha Dev. Srila Prabhupada describes in several purports throughout Chaitanya Charitamrita all the forms of the Lord are one. But in particular, Lord Narasimha Dev is important for us. So let us begin with Mangalacharana. Om Ajnanatimirantasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guroho Shri Utapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Madgavirapi Gopala Swikuryat Kripaya Yadi Tadaiva Sampayaha Pitva Hrishyayustat Priyajanaha. Because even as devotees of Lord Krishna, we have to do some work in the beginning of our cultivation of bhakti. There are at least 8 stages. Other acharyas give different number of stages that we have to pass through before we get prema. But Rupa Goswami in his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu says, first is Shraddha, then Sadhana, Sadhu Sangha, then Bhajana Kriya, then Anartha Nivritti, and Nishtha, Ruchi, Asakti, Bhava. And so that's 9 stages. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, in one of his purports in the first canto, he outlines 14 stages, so there are subdivisions to be considered here. But among the most important, and certainly the one that takes the longest, it seems, is which one? Anartha Nivritti. And who is the most effective deity at removing our anarthas? He's called Bhakti Vighna Vinashaka. He's only for that purpose. There's a famous temple in the southern end of Govardhan Hill of Lord Narasimha. How many people have visited that temple of Lord Narasimha, Govardhan Hill? Only Avadhuta Chandra and Govardhan and, yes, Ramdas and Vishnu Chitta. Okay, so a few of us have been there. So Indraduna Swami gave a very memorable lecture there some years back, and he was discussing that, you know, when I first came to Vrindavan, I thought, why is there a temple of Lord Narasimha Dev here? It doesn't seem to fit the mood. hardcore madhurya rasa with hardcore violence. So, but then he explained that actually Lord Narasimhadev is that very deity whom we worship in the beginning and whom we're instructed to worship in the beginning in order to remove all the obstacles. So many things obstructing us. Mostly things that obstruct us are the things we're holding on to. And so we pray to Lord Narasimhadev to remove our natures. Now, a most effective prayer that we can offer is offered by Prahlada Maharaj. Where are Prahlada Maharaj's prayers in the Srimad Bhagavatam?
7th canto, 5th chapter. No. And then 5th canto.
7th canto. Where else? 5th canto. Anywhere else? Those are the main places. So I thought today it would be nice to study from the 5th canto, chapter 18. And we can just, as by way of providing some context, this is the description of how the residents of different parts of Jambu Dweep within this world are worshiping the Lord and offering their prayers unto the Lord. In this particular passage, it's already been described that the predominating ruler of Bhadrashva Varsha is Bhadrashrava, and there he and all of his people, they worship the Lord in which form? Yeah, we're not keeping up. Yes, Hayagriva, very good. He is a man who reads Prabhupada's books. So he, in the land known as Harivarsha, the exalted devotee Prahlada Maharaj worships Lord Narasimha, obviously. So, following in the footsteps of Prahlada Maharaj, the inhabitants of Harivarsha always worship Lord Narasimhadev to receive from him the benediction of being engaged in his loving service. And then it goes on to describe other forms. So I thought it would be very nice to dilate on these prayers of Prahlada Maharaj and all of his followers there in Harivarsha, which is here in this world. So let's skip ahead and go to text number 7. I'm just going to read the translation. Shukadev Goswami continued, "My dear king, Lord Narasimhadeva resides in the tract of land known as Harivarsha. In the 7th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, I shall describe to you how Prahlada Maharaj caused the Lord to assume the form of Narasimhadeva. Prahlada Maharaj, the topmost devotee of the Lord, is a reservoir of all good qualities of great personalities. His character and activities have delivered all the fallen members of his demoniac family. Lord Narasimhadeva is very dear to this exalted personality. Thus, Prahlada Maharaj, along with his servants and all the denizens of Harivarsha, worships Lord Narasimha by chanting the following mantra." Just a quick question. How long will this class go? When should we stop?
Schedule is till 9, but it's up to you.
Okay.
I'll go a little longer. 9:15 is fine.
All right. So, Srila Prabhupada writes in his purport to this text number 7 that Shukdev Goswami refers to Narasimhadev because of Prahlada Maharaj. Prahlada Maharaj was put into great distress by his powerful father, the demon Hiranyakashipu. Apparently helpless before him, Prahlada called out on the Lord, who immediately assumed the gigantic form of Narasimhadev, half lion and half man, to kill the gigantic demon. Although Krishna is the original person, one without a second, he assumes different forms just to satisfy his devotees or to execute a specific purpose. Therefore, Jayadev Goswami repeats the name of Keshava, the original personality of Godhead, in his prayers describing the Lord's different incarnations for different purposes. And that's, of course, Keshava Dhrita Nara Hari Rupa Jaya Jagadisha Hare, from Gita Govindam. Okay, so kindly repeat after me. We're going to look at text number 8 now. Om Namaha Bhagavate Narasimhaya Namaha Tejas Tejase Aviravirbhava Vajranakha Vajradangshtra Karmashayan Ranthaya Ranthaya Tamaha Grasa Grasa Om Swaha Abhayam Abhayam Atmani Bhuyishtha Om Krom. How many of you know this by heart and chant it every day? Jai. So this is a beautiful, beautiful, very, very important prayer from Prahlada Maharaj. Anything from Prahlada Maharaj, you better listen carefully, because it's important. He says, I offer my respectful obeisances unto Lord Narasimha Deva, the source of all power. O my Lord, who possesses nails and teeth just like thunderbolts, kindly vanquish our demon-like desires for fruitive activity in this material world. Please appear in our hearts and drive away our ignorance, so that by your mercy we may become fearless in the struggle for existence in this material world. Please repeat. I offer my respectful obeisances unto Lord Narasimha Deva, the source of all power. O my Lord, who possess nails and teeth just like thunderbolts, kindly vanquish our demon-like desires for fruitive activity in this material world. Please appear in our hearts and drive away our ignorance, so that by your mercy we may become fearless in the struggle for existence in this material world. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, founder and Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, Savior of the modern world, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. In Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th Canto, Chapter 22, Text 39, Sanat Kumar speaks the following words to Maharaj Prithu. Anybody know it? Yat pada pangaja palasha vilasa bhaktya karmashayan grahidam udgrahayanti santaha Tadvannariktamatayo yatayo piruddha srodoganastamananam bhaja vasudevam. Devotees, always engaged in the service of the toes of the Lord's lotus feet, can very easily become free from hard-knotted desires for fruitive activities. Because this is very difficult, the non-devotees, the jnanis and yogis, cannot stop the waves of sense gratification, although they try to do so. Therefore, you are advised to engage in the devotional service of Krishna, the son of Vasudeva, end quote. Prabhupada continues, every living being within this material world has a strong desire to enjoy matter to his fullest satisfaction. For this purpose, the conditioned soul must accept one body after another, and thus his strongly fixed fruitive desires continue. We discussed this yesterday. The basis of that perpetuation is we have our weak faith, and we have our samskars, and we have our activities that result in the reactions that they produce, and then we just go on and on and on. Samsara, round and round and round we go in the circle of birth and death, wheel of birth and death. One cannot stop the repetition of birth and death without being completely desireless. Therefore, Srila Rupa Goswami describes pure bhakti, devotional service, as follows. Anybody know that definition? Anyabhilashita shunyam jnana karmadi anavratam anukulyena krishnanushilanam bhaktiruttama. One should render transcendental, loving service to the Supreme Lord Krishna favorably, and without desire for material profit or gain through fruitive activities or philosophical speculation. That is called pure devotional service, end quote. Unless one is completely freed of all material desires which are caused by the dense darkness of ignorance, one cannot fully engage in the devotional service of the Lord. Therefore, we should always offer our prayers to Lord Narasimha Deva, who killed Hiranyakashipu, the personification of material desire. Hiranya means gold, and Kashipu means a soft cushion or bed. Materialistic persons always desire to make the body comfortable, and for this they require huge amounts of gold. Thus, Hiranyakashipu was the perfect representative of materialistic life. He was therefore the cause of great disturbance to the topmost devotee, Prahlada Maharaj, until Lord Narasimha Dev killed him. Any devotee aspiring to be free from material desires should offer his respectful prayers to Narasimha Dev as Prahlada Maharaj did in this verse. Okay, so we have also some comments by Sridhar Swami. He says, Tejasam api tejase. What is the meaning of the word? He's telling us. Here we see the word namas tejas tejase. What does that mean? Prabhupada says here, what does he say here? The source of all power. Here Sridhar Swami says, Tejasam api tejase, unto that person who is the power of all powers, which is more or less the same thing. Even of all powers. Tejasam api tejase. And avir avihi ati prakato bhava. He says avir again and again, vipsa va, because he's very eager that the Lord should manifest himself, ati prakata. Karmashayan means karma vasana. What does karma vasana mean? Vasana, what does that mean? We heard this word before, vasana? Yes, the samskaras, that are the impressions that are within our mind. Another word for it is given by Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami in his commentary on Krishna Karnamritam by Bilva Mangala Thakur. He says it means hritchaya, things, whatever's lying in your heart. What lies in our heart? So many material desires, so much lust, anger, greed, madness, envy, illusion. These are the things. And they just have to be awakened by a slight stimulus of some sort in this material world, and they will come out. It's like Srila Prabhupada said about South Asians generally. You just have to scratch their skin, and Krishna consciousness comes out. Because that's a good samskar. They have that. And similarly, Srila Prabhupada said, as we heard yesterday, about the Americans in particular, I think he was saying, you people, it's like trying to wash coal. No matter how hard you scrub coal, it's still black. And so anyway, to have good samskars and to have a good vasana, karma vasana, or in our case, akarma vasana, that is a great, great, great advantage, because it makes Krishna consciousness so much easier. As Krishna says in the end of chapter 7 of Bhagavad Gita, if we want to sustain a mature commitment to pure devotional service, then this is what we need to do. We have to become punyatma. He uses this word in the Bhagavad Gita, or dharmatma is another word he uses in Bhagavad Gita. So, this is the first thing that Sridhar Swami says, karma vasana. So that's what karma ashayan means here. Karma ashayan, all the things that are lying there in our hearts. Another reading he gives here is karma ashrayan, iti pate ragadin randhaya nirdaha. So that means, if you take the other reading, karma ashlayan, what does that mean? You can pretty much understand. Karma ashraya
Taking shelter.
Yes. Yeah, all the things that we have given shelter to within our hearts, isn't it? Because we have a public persona and we have a private persona, isn't it? Our public persona, we're nice tilak, devotees, paka, everything. But inside, we're cherishing something else. This is Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. In this material world, people on the externally, people like to look as if they're very civil and very broad-minded and very selfless and all these noble qualities that we should have. But he says inside they're cherishing a different ideal. That is deception. That is called kutinati. So inside it's an ugly situation. And we're unfortunately giving shelter to all these anarthas. Karmashrayan. Therefore he says, rantaya, rantaya, twice. Why does he say it twice? Again, he's eager to get this done. Get me through this process of anartha nivritti so that I can actually begin to get a real taste for bhakti. We don't have a real taste right now, do we? Little taste, a chaya of shadow bhakti, shadow attachment, Prabhupada says in his Nectar of Devotion. But the real taste for bhakti actually doesn't come until you're done with anartha nivritti, or almost done. Praya. This is the point of the second chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto. This is what he's praying for from Narasimha. And tamaha, karmashrayam rantaya rantaya, burn up all of that karmashraya or karmashaya. And what about the tamaha, the ignorance that is the basis of that karmic attachment? What does he say? Grasa grasa. What does that mean? Prabhupada is here. Kindly drive it away. Kindly drive it away. And Sridhar Swami says, well, he doesn't say actually in his commentary. So, rantaya, but he does say that rantaya means to burn it up. And here we have the word also bhuyishta. What does that mean? Bhuyishta. Superlative. More. And bhuya means more, but bhuyishta means the most. So he's very eagerly praying like this. Intense prayer by Prahlada Maharaj. So, Jiva Goswami doesn't say anything about this verse, oddly enough. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says essentially the same thing as Sridhar Swami has said. Only thing he adds is, abhayam yatha syat tatha atmani man manasi bhuyishta bhuyaha. That means this abhaya should be taken in such a way that it means that in karmatrayam we burn up the attachment and so on. So let us become fearless in such a way that we are more fixed in spirituality, bhuyishta. Anyone familiar with Srila Prabhupada's purport? I mean, are you conversant with Srila Prabhupada's purport to Bhagavad Gita chapter 4, text number 10? Who can recite that verse for me? 4:10. Very good. The two biggest book distributors are the ones who know the verses. Is that significant? I think so. So what does it mean? Yes. Yeah. So the very important verse. And Krishna talks about three things that snag us all. What are those three things? Bhaya, raga, bhaya, krodha. Yes. So Prahlada is praying for fearlessness. Why? What are we afraid of? Yes, we know that fear is there, but why is that fear there? Because we've turned away from God. But what is the real nature of that fear? What are we so afraid of? Death, okay, that's fair enough. Pa-pa-ba-pa-ma, right? So the fourth one is bhaya. Tamilians don't have this pavarga. They only have pa. This is a linguistic thing. But what are we afraid of? Prabhupada writes in the purport. Who knows that purport? Yes.
We're afraid of Krishna actually being a person, because we're so
Yes. We're afraid of Krishna being a person. We're also afraid even of ourselves being persons and having a personal relationship with God forever. Because what's our frame of reference in this world regarding personality? Yeah, everybody's dysfunctional, isn't it? Everyone's nuts. Everyone's out to eat you up. The Chinese, there was an author, Lu Xun. Anybody heard that name? It's not so well known. He was kind of adopted by the Communist Party later on, but he wrote a book in which he described his vision of society, human society. He felt as if he was walking down the street and he saw all these people. It's easy to see a lot of people in China and India. And he's thinking, all these people, they all want to eat me. Now, you have to understand a little bit about Chinese history. When things get rough in China, sometimes they do start eating each other. That's been documented since the beginning of its recorded history. So, anyway, so this is our fear, is that, we only know personality of this kind. That, everybody's got an agenda, everybody's got some motive, everybody's, you can't trust them, or they'll hurt you, or something. Or they'll lead you astray, or something wrong always happens when we deal with personality in this world. And Prabhupada, very brilliantly, Prabhupada writes in his purport to that verse that this is what we're afraid of. Now, where does he get this information from? Usually I like to emphasize that Srila Prabhupada's purports very faithfully mirror what his predecessors have already written many centuries earlier. But this purport is different. Srila Prabhupada's almost the entire purport is completely original, because it could only have been written by Srila Prabhupada and could only have been written for the 20th century man. And therefore, Srila Prabhupada's insights are very, very valuable, and this is one of them. We're afraid of eternal spiritual personality, either our own or Krishna or both. That's what we're actually afraid of. And so it's very significant that Prahlada Maharaj is praying here to become fearless. Of course, it's kind of implicit here that we're talking about all the struggles and the problems in material existence. That also causes fear, as we've said. But this is another aspect that we can consider. So all these are the things. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, please let us become fearless such that we are more fixed in spirituality. When we become non-devotees, or when we become demons, or when we are already demons, the default consciousness that we have is that Krishna consciousness is a threat. It's the thing we don't want. It's the wrong thing, the bad thing. But it's actually exactly the opposite. And this is why the conflict between Prahlada Maharaj and his father is so significant. That Hiranyakashipu was solidly convinced that Prahlada was in Maya. Because, it's like kutas twa kashmalamedam. How have these impurities come upon you? That you're all thinking about Vishnu, don't you know? I mean, he's our enemy. And he was thinking like this. It can happen to us. It has happened to us. We're already here. Every one of us has a material body. That itself is your sentence, right? It's like your mug shot, right? They had to put the little board around your neck, and that's what this body is. It means you are a criminal, sir. This is why we have to practice humility. And preaching means, how to tell somebody a criminal without offending him. You're a criminal. Who can take that? It's not so easy thing. So, we read the other day what satyam priyam hitam chayat, right? The austerity of speech. There's no polite way to throw a hand grenade. It's going to hurt no matter what you say. Jayadvaita Swami has acerbic wit. So he said that preaching means to comfort those who are distressed. Hannah? Yes. And preaching also means to distress those who are comfortable. So it's a little bit of each. Tamal Krishna Goswami was really good at this. He was very, very expert at humiliating you at the same time inspiring you. That's very difficult to do. But he was a past master at it because he had the same kind of empathy that Prabhupada had. And that's the best thing. That's the qualification of the best yogi, empathy. Where does it say this? Bhagavad Gita, man. Huh? Yes? Chapter 6, text 32. You have to read between these lines a little bit. Atma upamyena sarvatra samam prashiti yorjana sukham va yadi va dukkham sa yogi paramomata. What does Krishna say? If you've got Prabhupada's translation, somebody can read it out loud. Yeah.
You can see the equality in all things, including their...
Just read it.
In both their happiness and their... He is a perfect yogi who, by comparison to his own self, sees the true equality of all beings in both their happiness and their distress, O Arjuna.
So if that's not describing empathy, I don't know what it is describing. But anyway, great devotees, those who are successful in preaching, they have this quality they can appreciate. So anyway, we're a little getting off task here. This is text 9, and Prahlada is praying in this way, as we've heard from at least two acharyas, Sridhar Swami and Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Now, in the next verse, it gets more interesting. This verse is good enough, and everyone should memorize this verse. If you don't have it memorized already, it's a very good idea to chant this verse every day, because we need to. But in the next verse, we find very exalted consciousness of Prahlada Maharaj. What does he say? Swastiyastu vishvasya khala prasidatam dhyayantu bhutani shivam mithodhiya manashta bhadram bhajataradhokshaje aveshyatam no matirapya haitaki. May there be good fortune throughout the universe, and may all envious persons be pacified. May all living entities become calm by practicing bhakti yoga. For by accepting devotional service, they will think of each other's welfare. Therefore, let us all engage in the service of the Supreme Transcendence, Lord Sri Krishna, and always remain absorbed in thought of Him. Let's repeat this. May there be good fortune throughout the universe, and may all envious persons be pacified. May all living entities become calm by practicing bhakti yoga. For by accepting devotional service, they will think of each other's welfare. Therefore, let us all engage in the service of the Supreme Transcendence, Lord Sri Krishna, and always remain absorbed in thought of Him. So, Srila Prabhupada writes in his purport, this verse describes a Vaishnava. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Prahlada Maharaj is like a desire tree. The devotee, any pure devotee is like a desire tree. In Vrindavan we have desire trees. There's one growing outside of my house. And every grain of dust in Vrindavan is also what kind of dust? What kind of? Chintamani. And the Chintamani means a touchstone. It also fulfills your desire. Chintamani prakara sadmar. What kind of house? What kind of houses do they have? Chintamani prakara houses. Houses made out of Chintamani. My house is made out of Chintamani. And wandering around the house are so many what? Yes. And what are the cows in Vrindavan? Surabhi cows, or also known as? Yeah, Kamadhenus. And the trees outside? Kalpavrikshas. How many of them? Lakhs. Lakshavrateshu. More than lakhs. So Vrindavan is like this, but a Vaishnava is like this. If he's a pure Vaishnava, A Vaishnava has such power. He can fulfill all your desires. You have to be careful, we say, when you go to Vrindavan, because you might just get what you want, what you really want. Not what you say you want, but what's in your heart. The Narottam Das Thakur says that Guru Mukha Padma Bhakko Chite Te Korya Aikyo. You have to make what's in your heart the same thing as what you're hearing from the spiritual master. As long as there's a distinction, it's not going to work so well. It will take some time, because that's offensive. So that's why Prahlada is praying like this, that let me burn all this stuff up and become a real devotee. And here he's actually revealing the fact that he already is such a devotee. So Prabhupada is pointing this out in his purport. Srimad Bhagavatam, the Bhagavad Dharma in general, they're meant for persons who are completely free of envy. Paramanirmat Saranam. And therefore, Prahlad Maharaj, being one of those persons, he prays, Kala Prasidadam, may all the envious persons be satisfied. The material world is full of envious persons. Have you noticed? But if one frees himself of envy, he becomes liberal and in his social dealings and can think of others' welfare. Anyone who takes up Krishna consciousness and engages himself completely in the service of the Lord cleanses his mind of all envy. Manascha bhadram bhajatadat hokshaje. Therefore, we should pray to Lord Narasimha Dev to sit in our hearts. We should pray by here, Narasimha hridaye Narasimha. Let him sit in the core of my heart, killing all my bad propensities. Let my mind become clean so that I may peacefully worship the Lord and bring peace to the entire world, as we heard yesterday from Bhakti Vikas Swami and the day before from either me or somebody else, that Janma Sartha Kori Koro Parupakar. It's an order of operations here, right? V1, V2 verb. You have to, you can't really do the upakar of someone else until you've done the Sartha Kori first. Subsidiary verbs we have in Indo-Aryan languages. It's understood that one doesn't happen until the other one is completed. That's the point. So the first thing that has to happen is we have to make ourselves clean. We have to purify our hearts. And that's the significance of these prayers. Okay. I'm going to paraphrase now. Sridhar Swami again has given us his wonderful commentary here. He says, Prahlad mentions this doubt about including, or someone may have a doubt about including the envious when praying for universal auspiciousness, right? If you're praying, Swastiastu Vishwasya, let the whole universe, that means everybody within the universe, be auspicious, then that means you're also praying for the empowerment of the demons, doesn't it? Therefore, Prahlad says, Kala Prasidadam, may the envious, the demons, may they be pacified. Giving up cruelty. There should not be any oppression of the sadhus, no mutual ill will, and no killing each other among these living entities in this world. So that means Kala Prasidadam, let them be pacified. And living beings should only consider each other's welfare. May their minds be auspicious. Let them worship peacefully. The word api here suggests that among all the living beings, let even our minds be unmotivated and desireless. That means that anyone reading this verse, anyone chanting this verse, you can say this, even me. Many times Prahlad Maharaj says throughout his prayers, even I can do this. If a demon can do this, so-called demon, then what about us? We're also demons. It means we can also do this. Viradagavacharya of the Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya, he's also written his purport here. He says that the verses begin with Swasti, may there be auspiciousness, Mangalam, for the entire universe, Jagat. And he brings up the same point, that how are we going to do that without, empowering demons who are going around killing everyone? So that means, he says kala here means wicked, duramati, somebody whose intelligence is bad. The mind is always pretty much suspect, but if the intelligence is contaminated, then you're really in bad shape, because there's not much you can do about it. So the intelligence has to be purified also. So the idea is that they may be pacified, that they, prasanna, he uses the word, they may become gracious, giving up their cruelty, and they become, instead of durmati, they may become sumati. What does sumati mean?
Good intelligence.
Good brain. So let all these living beings who are simply toxic consider each other wisely. Sumatya, let them worship with peaceful minds. And may we also become unmotivated. That is, without any thought of fruitive rewards. Here the words are very significant, so I'm going to give them to you in Sanskrit. Here the word is used at the very end of the verse, ahaituki, right? Aveshitam no matir api ahaituki. What does that ahaituki mean? According to Viraragavacharya, it means, yes, but he uses a particular phrase, phala abhisandhira hita. That means devoid of any connection with the fruits of whatever you're doing. Usually when we're in the mode, definitely when we're on the mode of passion, there has to be some cut for ourselves, right? And when we're in the mode of ignorance, we don't even do anything. But in the mode of goodness, a person is palabhi santira hita. He's disconnected from any thought or any hope or any aspiration for the fruits of what he's doing. We should become like that. We will become like that if we chant these prayers, if we especially chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Then we can enter, and then we can enter. He says here, very nicely put, Matira haitaki palabhi santira hita sati adhokshije bhagavati aveshyatam aveshita bhavatu. May we all become more selflessly and fully absorbed in worship of Lord Adhokshija. So, the idea is let us be inclined towards Bhagavan. Vijayadwaj Tirtha of the Madhva Sampradaya is also commented here. O residents of Harivarsha, Prahlada is speaking, may Narasimha be pleased and bestow auspiciousness upon the universe. May all living entities meditate on Nrihari, intent on auspiciousness. Hear the word Shivam. Shiva, what does the word Shiva mean? Yes, as an adjective it means auspicious, mangalam. We've heard that already. As a proper noun it means, of course, Lord Shiva, Shambhu, Ishwara. So the word Shivam here means permanently pure, nitya shuddham. He's asking, as we heard yesterday, right, there's sattva guna and there's shuddha sattva guna. So shuddha sattva guna, it doesn't go anywhere. It's not under any kind of jeopardy or threat. So that's what he's praying for when he says, may the manashabhadram, what is that? No, mito, what is it? Jayantu bhutani shivam. May they think auspicious things about everyone else, or may they consider each other's auspiciousness. Here he's taking, what is that auspiciousness? Eternal purity. What a relief that would be, wouldn't it? Every time. Do you feel like this? In the morning, here we have this nice morning program, we're all cleansed, we go head out for Sankirtana, and naturally, by association with all the material elements, gradually the film starts collecting on our mind. It's kind of like, it's described that when we do puja in the morning, it's best to use copper paraphernalia. Copper is considered to be very pure because Krishna killed one demon, and he gave that demon the benediction that you will be used in my seva. So this is why Krishna enjoys, he likes it more when we use copper in his personal seva puja. But what's the problem with copper? Especially if you live in Vrindavan. You have to clean it all the time. I was shocked. I bought brand new copper paraphernalia in Chennai, and I brought it home to Vrindavan, And, I polished it up, looking forward to the next day. I'm going to do puja with nice, spiffy, clean copper paraphernalia. And I took it out, and then I looked at it, it's all black again. One day in Vrindavan. That's how polluted the air is there. Externally, the pollution is massive in Vrindavan. Off the charts, literally off the charts. Sometimes if you got an air purifier, it's going to be 400 or 500. And between 25 and 50, they say is ideal. 400 or 500. So, the stuff turned black instantly. But usually what happens, and what I'm seeing, because I have that copper paraphernalia still, little bit by bit, you don't really notice that it's getting dark, right? Until suddenly, then after some weeks or so, then you see, it's time to polish this stuff again. You see? That's what it's like in association with Maya. So we go out after the morning program, we go out and we associate with so many modes, and by the end of the day, we feel like demons again, right? It's like you just every morning you're just erasing the contamination that you've accumulated in the previous night. So this is the problem. Therefore, we just imagine what a relief it would be, nitya shuddhatva, to be eternally pure. So this is what he's saying. By engaging in devotional service, we will think like this. Not only for our own benefit, that may I be nitya shuddha, but thinking for other people, that may they be eternally pure. Now, who can think like this? This is a question we're going to hear in a moment. But the idea is that being absorbed in the transcendent Lord, even our minds become auspicious without personal motives of fruit of gain. And again, he uses exactly the same term that his friend Viragavacharya said, Vijayadvajtirtha, palabhi santirahita. Exactly the same thing, without any trace of connection with the fruits. Again, Jiva Goswami has not commented, it's kind of odd, but Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has given us, as Prabhupada says, a fine purport in this regard. Mantram jabitva prarthayate swastiti. In the verse beginning swasti, he is praying because he's already completed his chanting of that japa of the mantra. What was the mantra? Om Namo Bhagavate Narasimhaya ityadi. So Vishwasya swasti prarthane khalasyapi bhavet. He brings up the same doubt that when we're praying for the welfare of the whole universe, well, then what about the demons? So in this regard, devotees, his concern is that devotees should not be oppressed, because that's what demons do. Tacha sadhu pidam vina nasyad ityata aha khala prasidadam. That's why he says, kraudyam tyajato. It means give up their cruelty, especially their cruelty towards the devotees. And moreover, he says, may all beings meditate on auspiciousness. We've already heard from Vijayadvajtirtha that auspiciousness is eternal purity. So how's that possible? Auspiciousness cannot exist alongside attachment to material enjoyment. So the demons and the devotees are together in this material world. Mostly it's demons. But they can't think of each other's welfare because they're demons. But if they become pure by devotional service, they can. So therefore he prays that the mind partake of auspiciousness. Bhadram here means without attachment. This is a bhadram. Bhadram also means what? Yes. We don't want redundance, right, in Sanskrit. It's never considered to be a very good thing. So there has to be some slight nuance of meaning here that distinguishes it from Shivam. Shivam and Bhadram ordinarily mean both Mangalam. But in this case he says no. Shivam means Nitya Shuddham, Nitya Shuddhatvam, eternal purity, and Bhadram here means without attachment. Same thing we've already heard. Without bhakti, so-called auspiciousness is actually inauspicious. So may our nishkama minds be absorbed in Krishna. Nishkama is how, who is this? Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is glossing the word ahaituki. Ahaituki, koi hetu nahi. There should not be any hetu. What does hetu mean? Cause, but it also means motive, an agenda, we say in English parlance. agenda. No agenda. You've got nothing, no personal, ulterior motive, we can say it means. There should be devoid of that. That's how he's glossing the term ahaitaki, which he says, just to make sure we understand, it means nishkama, without any personal desire. That's how our bhakti should be. Otherwise, it's not going to work properly. And then he makes another point, which Prabhupada mentions in his purport at the end. There's no time constraint given in this verse, is it? May our minds become, well, the question is, well, when will it come? Well, when is it going to happen? And he says, since no words like today or right now are mentioned in this prayer, the Lord will fulfill his desires over a period of time. It may take some time, as we discussed the other day. This is why Rupa Goswami tells us. He gives us such wonderful advice in Upadeshamrita. You cannot calculate the value of that advice. Be patient. Be determined. Keep going. Keep good association. Follow in the proper sadachara or shishtachara of your predecessors. And what else?
Be enthusiastic.
Be enthused, like mahotsaha. Big enthusiasm. Maha utsaha. Okay. Over a period of time it will generally take. So one should not say, however, that all the jivas will be liberated eventually, and then the universes will all be empty, since the jiva shakti and the maya shakti are eternal. Countless other unsurrendered jivas will fill this material world. So what does that mean for us? Lots of work to do. Lots of books to distribute. Lots of work to do, and pretty much eternally. That is what is going to guarantee our nitya shuddhatva, the ability to think of others' welfare. The fact that there's so many, he uses a nice word for it here. Let me look it up. He says, yes, tada tadaiva tasam anatanam anyesham jivanam prasavad iti. Anata jivas, that they're not bowed down, unsurrendered jivas. They're always coming in. Even if you empty out a whole universe at once, a whole new batch will come in. And this has been going on since forever. So we have plenty of work to do, and what does that mean for us? When we're not finished with an archa nivritti, it looks like work, but when we're finished with an archa nivritti, what does it mean? Fun! Lots of fun. Actually, it's described like this in Chaitanya Chandrodaya Natak, I think. Maybe if memory serves, that the devotees, pure devotees, actually many of them, they prefer to be in this material world. Although it's so hellish here, and although there's so many demons here, and it's a difficult place, but they prefer this world to Goloka Dham. Why is that?
So you can preach.
So you can preach. That brings you so close to the Lord. It is so dear to him. Nachatasman manusheshu ityadi. That the Lord is just, he's tickled pink, if I may say, when someone is preaching to another jiva that has forgotten him. He likes that so much, and he'll never forget. Even if you shed gallons of your own blood to save one person and pull one person out, it may not be significant for you if you just give someone a book, make the special effort, as we heard yesterday, that it's a small thing you can do for someone, but for that person, it's everything. It changes the whole trajectory of his future. So just think how much it must be endearing to Lord Krishna, this Sankirtana that we're performing. All right, so I'm just going to end here, but there's one of the lesser-known commentators. His name is Giridhari Lal from the Pushti Marg Vaishnava Sampradaya. He nicely summarizes everything that we've already heard, so I'm just going to read it straight. He says, in this way, Prahlad prays to the Lord personally. He teaches that although we are demons, we are also allowed. We too can pray to the Lord. The word Vishwasya indicates the entire universe, and Swasti means auspiciousness or Mangalam. You can see there's a little difference of opinion here among the Acharyas. What else did it mean, we said? I think it was Vijayadwaj Tirtha said it means. Shivam Nitya Shuddhatvam. Yeah, eternal purity. But here he says just means Mangalam. One may question that if he prays for the welfare of the whole universe, then how's that possible without thereby empowering the demons within it who are harassing and oppressing sadhus? How are they going to meditate on mutual auspiciousness for each other? Then that's a valid doubt. But although it's impossible for the jivas to effect this, he said it is a very easy thing for the Lord to effect. The Lord can do anything. He can make all of us favorable towards one another. He can effect within our hearts eternal purity. He can do this. It's not a problem for him. So he shows how by mentioning Khala prasidadam, may the demons be pacified, because they're peaceful at heart. Sadhus never think ill of others. Rather, only the envious meditate on inauspicious things. So Prahlad prays, let such persons be pacified, giving up cruelty. And let all others think of their mutual welfare, Shivam. So one may doubt how this is possible among those who have no peace. Therefore he says, may they all worship having peaceful minds. Manashcha bhadram bhajatad hokshaje. It's very clear in the Sanskrit. Bhajatad, it comes from performing devotional service to the transcendent Lord, adhokshaja. So may all of us living entities become absorbed, aveshitan, with unmotivated or desireless minds in you, the transcendent Lord adhokshaja. Thus, there can be universal auspiciousness. Now here I'm going to just go back to the Sanskrit and see what word he uses. Oh, I don't have it here, but yeah. Anyway, in general, as I recall, the acharyas are all taking this word ahaituki to be either palabhi sandhirahita, as we described, or nishkama, simply nishkama, without personal desires. This is the key. This is the active ingredient that really makes this verse worthwhile. We have to be selfless. And that's why we chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. If we beg from Lord Narasimha Dev, as he does in this verse, Om Namo Bhagavate Narasimhaya, and we're also chanting this Maha Mantra, the greatest of all the mantras, then how can it not work? It will work. We just have to be patient, enthusiastic, determined, etc. And gradually we will become a nishkama, palabhi sandhirahita. We will. It's been stated here by so many acharyas. It will happen. This is the point. It will happen. All right, so this is just a few things. We're running out of time. Prahlad continues his prayers. There are more prayers. There's so many beautiful things he and the residents of Harivarsh say to Lord Narasimhadev, but our time is a little bit less. We want to leave at least a few minutes for questions, so I'm going to stop here, and if anybody has anything to add, you kindly... yes?
Nobody else has a question?
Yeah, okay.
So this is on the subject of purifying the heart. So obviously that's something that all devotees are concerned about. And so years ago, I was reading the Chaitanya Charitamrita, probably when it first came out, and I noticed in the Adi Lila chapter 8, there was this section where it's talking about Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami is explaining that somebody might chant Hare Krishna again and again, but the love of God doesn't sprout, and it's due to offenses. But then he offers a remedy that one can chant the names of Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, and that will help him become free from all offenses. And then when he chants the Hare Krishna mantra, he'll feel ecstatic love for God. And in the purport, it's 831.
Wonderful purport, though.
Yeah, but I'm a little confused by it, because Prabhupada says here, in the purport he says, considering the position of people at this age, however, the chanting of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's name is more essential than the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, because Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the most magnanimous incarnation, and his mercy is very easily achieved. And then he goes on to say that therefore one must take shelter of Lord Chaitanya by chanting that mantra. But then there was a place where this Prabhupada was having a conversation. He was asked by a devotee named Swayambhur. This devotee asked the question, so should we chant the Panchatattva mantra more? And Prabhupada, and he mentioned that there's this one devotee named Stan who was chanting the Panchatattva mantra on his japa beads.
Right.
And Prabhupada said, who is that rascal? So it's kind of like I'm confused. It seems like here it's stating clearly that, okay, this is the way to, get free from all the offenses, and then when you chant the Hare Krishna mantra, you're going to, but then when somebody was actually doing it, Prabhupada didn't seem to be happy about the whole thing.
The on-ramp to the freeway is more important than the freeway. You understand?
Keep going.
I mean, what is the chance of us chanting Hare Krishna without offense, without the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? That is our access. So, you say, well, just get on 75 and head south and you'll eventually end up in Florida. That's fine, but it's understood. On-ramp has to be there. You have to have access. And that access is granted by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sri Guru Gauranga. Actually, the access is granted by the devotees of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
So should you stay on the on-ramp until you feel you're on the freeway?
Obviously, this is not the answer, is it? The point is to take 75 south, otherwise you're not going to get to Miami, right? So, but you can also say that the on-ramp is the real thing, because you're not going to get on that freeway without an on-ramp of some sort, unless you break the law, which is not good.
Okay, but so somebody's chanting Hare Krishna and they're not feeling ecstasy.
Yeah.
So should they be chanting the Panchatattva mantra more? Like, say, for instance, whenever you finish chanting 16 rounds, say you chant 16 rounds, but you're not experiencing a taste or what to speak of ecstasy. So should a person in that position concentrate on chanting the Panchatattva mantra to free himself from all offenses so that when he chants the Hare Krishna mantra, or is there any point in that person trying to chant 64 rounds, if they want to increase their chanting, or should they just chant 16 rounds and then chant the Panchatattva mantra the rest of the day, because that's what's going to, you follow?
Yeah, I think Prabhupada called what did he call him, a rascal?
You referred to that fellow as a rascal.
A rascal, yeah. I think because, the principle of concoction is definitely present in that process, isn't it? We're not received any such instruction to do that, correct? Prabhupada is telling us you can chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra as many rounds as you like, but you have to preface it with the chanting of the Panchatattva mantra. In that sense, it's more important, but it's not going to replace the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. It's not intended to replace the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Sometimes there are sahajiyas who like to do this. They just like to, everything about Krishna, they just like to replace with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but that's not our system. Our system is that we worship Radha, Krishna, and Vrindavan. But it's understood that our access is Gaurnitai, Guru Gauranga. So,
I think Prabhupada gave that explanation. I couldn't find it, but when I was kind of trying to research this the other day, but I remember there was a conversation between Harikesh and Prabhupada, where Harikesh point blank asked him, Prabhupada, it said that the Panchatattva mantra is more powerful than the Hare Krishna mantra, and Prabhupada said, oh yeah, way more powerful. So why don't we chant that? And Prabhupada said, because we're following in the footsteps of the predecessor acharyas.
Satovratehe, I said, same verse from Upadeshamrita. Any question you ask me, I'm going to refer to that verse because it actually answers those questions if you have some insight and experience. So, yeah, this is why Rupa Goswami says, these 6 things will undoubtedly assure the complete success of pure devotional service. That's a very strong statement. But we have to follow the process. Tat karma pravartanat is okay, but also sadovratehe, in the footsteps as our predecessors have done it. We don't want to invent any new things, because once we introduce the principle of invention, Prabhupada called that the American disease, right? And then there's no limit. Anything goes. And then, it's just, anything we can do. So, it's better not to concoct things. Better just, follow whatever's there, just follow it, be happy with that. It's a real challenge for American minds. And the person who was chanting like that, I can feel safe to assume was an American, correct? So case in point. Yeah. All right, Prabhuji Amokhalila had a question also. Or a comment.
It's a comment. It struck me hearing Prahlada Maharaja's prayer for the envious people, that they may become peaceful. It contrasted with the prayer that I recite daily, and which must have been recited many times in this holy house 5 or 6 years ago. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Kul a'udhu bi rabbil falak min sharri ma khalaq min sharri ghasiqin idha waqab min sharri nifasati fi uqad wa min sharri hasidin idha hasad. So hasad means envy. Hasidin means envious people. So what are they praying for, the envious people? That they may become pacified? No. Please protect me, O God, most merciful and compassionate, Lord of the dawn, or the Lord of daybreak. Please protect me from the evil in this world. Please protect me from the darkness of night. Please protect me from literally those who blow on the circle. It means witchcraft. And finally, protect me from the envy of the envious. So Prahlada Maharaj is not asking for protection from the envy of the envious. He's asking, may the envious become pacified.
Yeah.
Just a little contrast we can understand.
Nice. Anything else? Mataji Kamalini.
Jai. So, Prabhu, you started your lecture saying Prahlada Maharaj is praying to Lord Nrsimhadev, obviously, but previous to the appearance of Lord Nrsimhadev, Prahlada Maharaj is worshiping Krishna Govinda as his Ishtadev. And so, so after the appearance of Lord Nrsimha, is it that he kind of shifted his focus on Nrsimhadev rather than Krishna, like sometimes devotees used to be worshiping Lord Ram or even Lord Shiva, then they became Krishna bhaktas. So is it kind of like that? Because there was no Lord Nrsimhadev previous to his appearance.
Okay. Well, I was going to say I'm not aware that Prahlad was worshiping Krishna in particular before Lord Nrsimha's appearance, if someone has some information like that.
I just read it yesterday. I mean, it's there in the 7th canto. And also, all the times he was being tortured, he was taking shelter of Krishna, and it said always remembering Krishna, crying, and feeling so much the Lord's presence all the time. And of course, you know, when he got thrown off the cliff, Lord Krishna caught him. So, and I specifically read that, I can find it, where Prabhupada says he worships Krishna.
Yeah, adhokshija is the word used here, and it's significant, I think. I was wondering, you know, Prabhupada is translated as...
Yeah.
I can't hear.
In the Sanskrit, it says he's Krishna Graha Grasta.
Yes.
He's haunted by the
Krishna
ghost
planet.
almost of Krishna. And then we have famously Matyana Krishna Paratasvatova.
Okay, nice. Yeah, so then that would explain why Srila Prabhupada has translated this verse that let us all engage in the service of the Supreme Transcendence, Lord Sri Krishna. Because it's not there in the Sanskrit. It's only adhokshita is mentioned in this verse 10. Sorry, verse 9. That fits pretty neatly, doesn't it? So thank you for that comment. But you're asking a question, right? So the question is, yeah, when was the shift? This is...
Or was there a shift, or did he maintain, you know, worshiping Krishna as his primary focus? And
Yeah, I'm going to have to defer this question to someone who's more advanced than me. Because I wasn't even aware until this.
And one more thing. Yesterday, when Bhakti Vikas Swami said, in the future, you'll be sitting there in the chairs, and then the other young devotees will say, everybody already has sets, what are we to do? But then you said, and I thought of this, but there's always an influx of new people coming in.
Yeah.
So there'll always be, you know, all those babies, they're going to grow up. So there'll always be new people.
Yep, I thought of exactly this verse yesterday when I was hearing that. That's why I chose this verse, because it's a significant point. It's just, there's never end for us. The service is just never going to end. Yes, okay, Mataji, hey, Cora.
Yeah?
Oh,
Okay.
you have one? Or
I got a question, but I can wait. If somebody else
Okay.
will-
Go ahead.
Where did this pastime take place? Because, the setting, when you hear the most...
Where?
Yeah, because it seems like it's happening in the heavenly planets. I mean, Hiranyakasipu is fighting
No,
with the...
this is here. This is Jambudweep. Remember? Jambudweep is divided into different varshas. This is Harivarsha. These are the residents of Jambudweep offering prayers. And Jambudweep is not Svarga.
Okay, but the pastime of Lord Nrsimhadev appearing out of the pillar and killing Hiranyakasipu...
That's different.
That's what I'm asking
That's
about.
not going on in this verse.
No, that's what I'm asking about, because, there's a general, the pastime, did it take
Right.
place on earth? Because, when you read the Bhagavatam, it seems like what's going on is between the demons. Hiranyakasipu was the king of the demons, and
Yes.
he was fighting against the demigods, and it sounds like it's something that happened in the heavenly planets. But I know that a lot of devotees, is a place, Hovalam, and
Yes.
is an idea that it happened there. So where did it actually happen?
Prabhupada said it happened in the heavenly planets. That's what the Bhagavatam says. So it happened in the heavenly planets. However, having said that, that doesn't mean that it didn't happen in this world also. Everybody wrap their heads around that?
No, not yet. Keep going.
Okay. So how is it possible to reconcile this? That it happened in the heavenly planets, but it also happened in the mature world. We ought to expand our view of what's happening here. Look at it this way. Giridhar Swami gave a very nice analogy to describe the Lord's appearances and activities in this world. And for that matter, even the structure of the universe. What kind of supermarkets do you have here in Atlanta? What are the names of some of the big chain stores? Walmart, okay. So every Walmart is going to carry this exact same stock of merchandise.
Yep.
And every Walmart is going to have more or less the exact same structure so that you can find it, you know where to go for it. But every building that Walmart is housed by is going to differ slightly, correct?
Yeah.
Therefore, there are slight differences from one branch to another, from one outlet to another of Walmart. And over time also those things change because new Walmarts are built, and they will also differ. So in that way, when the Lord comes into this world and performs his pastimes, there are differences according to the different kalpas. We call that kalpa bheda. And there are differences in the number of jivas that are involved, and there are slight differences in the plot as well. It's very interesting because one of the things that Rupa Goswami mentions in his Laghu Bhagavatamrtam is that sometimes Lord Narasimha Dev doesn't come as a half man, half lion. He comes as a cat. And that's pretty hard for us to imagine, but he says like that. So there are slight differences between the different appearances of the Lord. So if we say that in one kalpa this pastime occurred in the heavenly planets, that would have been the kalpa in which Hiranyakashipu was harassing everyone. That's fine. If we also say that it happened in Andhra Pradesh, that's also fine, because it may have been in some different kalpa. Okay?
Lord Nrsimhadev also appeared in Pakistan.
Yeah, that's another thing, that Char Sadhana. This is another thing. Very, very ancient tradition that this is called Aitihyam. You may or may not find it in the Shastra, but the people there are convinced since time immemorial that the Lord appeared there. Who's to say?
I'm just going to say that applies to Lord Nrsimhadev's incarnations as well, or no, Lord Varaha, right? In the Bhagavatam, there's
All of them, I think.
different pastimes for Lord Varaha.
Yes. Yeah. We had in the Bhagavatam itself. We have two of them. Yeah, that's
Yes.
right. The Shweta Varaha and the Rakta Varaha.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a good analogy. A good point. Mataji had a question.
How are the envious persons being satisfied in this verse?
Yeah, good question. They're not actually being satisfied. I think they're
Pacified,
being
I'm sorry.
pacified. Yeah, well, by devotional service. That's devotion. Even if you're a demon, Prahlada was technically a demon, supposed to have been a demon. I mean, he was born in a demon family. I was also born in a demon family. Of course, I'm still demonic, so there's a difference. But it doesn't really matter whether you're a so-called demon or a devotee. If you adopt to any degree this process of Krishna consciousness, you will become pacified. All these material desires will become extinguished. You will become cleansed, and this is the whole point of the verse. It's all auspicious. Rupa Goswami describes this first thing in his Nectar of Devotion, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. There are 6 excellences that come through performing bhakti. What are those? 6 excellences that come through performing bhakti. No. These are the opulences of Bhagavan. Kleshagni, Shubhada, Moksha Laguta Kritsa Durlabham are? Yes. So in different stages of our advancement, we see different manifestations of these excellences. But it's significant because in the first stage of bhakti, the sadhana bhakti stage, Vaidhi sadhana bhakti, we get these 2 things, which is that the miseries are severely reduced, almost destroyed, praya. And, Kleshagni, Shubhada, and all auspiciousness is conferred upon us. That's just from sadhana bhakti. Now when you get to bhava bhakti, there are two more are added to that. And when you finally attain prema, you get all 6. So it's really, I mean, the bhakti is so powerful. It's not, this is why it's an offense, actually, to as the Padma Purana tells us, to think that, digging wells, opening hospitals, planting trees, feeding the poor, doing, yajnas and japas and homas and tapas and all these things is equal to the holy name. It is far different, very, very different. So, but only someone who has heard something and who is trained by a bona fide spiritual master, he can understand this. Another person thinks you people are just fanatical. Just like in the coming verses, we have that swastyastu vishvasya. I'm sorry, no. What is it? All the qualities of the demigods? What is the verse? It's in this chapter. Yeah, verse 12. Now it's escaping my mind. Bhagavati akinchana sarvaya gunais tatra samasate suraha. This is the verse. So it's described in connection with this verse. Yeah, yasyasti bhaktir bhagavati akinchana sarvaya gunais tatra samasate suraha. Harau abhaktasya kuto mahadguna matonate nasiti dhavato bahi. On the face of it, when you read this, what it's saying is that devotees have all good qualities and non-devotees have no good qualities. And that sounds like total fanaticism, doesn't it? If you're not really aware of the science behind it, it just sounds like complete fanaticism. That, only we're good, you people are all bad. That's how people are going to read it, the pedestrian on the street. So it has to be presented very carefully. And Prabhupada has given us a wonderful purport there. It's another class altogether, but there is a science behind it. And this is the science, actually, that what we've described in today's verses explain how that's possible. Because all the inauspiciousness is destroyed, one is situated in eternal peace and purity, and one enjoys the bliss of devotional service forever, just by adopting this process. But it's only visible, or it's only experienced by those who adopt the process. Somebody looking in from the outside, he'll never get it. Is that answering your question? Anything else? Yes. Rasikrai. Yeah, okay, time to stop.